I made my mom instantly regret it. This happened when I was like 11. My mom had been yelling at me for almost an hour straight. The reason? I was outside playing basketball with my buddy Tyler and some other kids from the neighborhood, and when she called me inside, I didn't come back fast enough. Like, I heard her yell my name, but I was in the middle of a game and figured I had a few more minutes. Wrong. When I finally walked through that door, she was sitting at the kitchen table with her dinner. Chicken, rice, some vegetables, and she just started going off on me. How I never listen, how I'm disrespectful, how when she calls I need to drop everything immediately. The whole lecture. But here's the thing that made it worse. She kept eating while she yelled. Like she'd take a bite of chicken, chew it while glaring at me, swallow, then continue the lecture. Take a sip of her drink, keep going. It was this weird rhythm that made the whole thing feel like it would never end. I just stood there by the doorway, hands in my pockets, saying, "Yes, Mom," and "Sorry, Mom," every few minutes when she paused for air. This went on for like 45 minutes, maybe longer. My legs were getting tired from standing. Then she pointed at her empty glass. "Get me some water," she said, not even pausing her rant about responsibility and respect. So I walked into the kitchen, grabbed a clean glass from the cabinet, turned on the faucet and filled it up about halfway. And then I just stood there for a second looking at that glass of water. That's when I opened the cabinet where we kept the salt, the big container of table salt. I unscrewed the cap and dumped a huge amount in, like way more than anyone would ever use for anything. Probably 3 or 4 tablespoons. I grabbed a spoon from the drawer and stirred it around until most of it dissolved. The water got this weird, cloudy look to it, so I poured it into a different glass real quick, then added more fresh water from the tap to fill it up and make it look normal. When I held it up to the light, you could barely tell. Maybe it looked slightly off if you really stared at it, but not enough that anyone would notice if they weren't paying attention. I walked back out to where my mom was still sitting. She didn't even look at me, just kept talking about how I need to be more aware and considerate and blah blah blah. She reached out her hand without looking, and I put the glass in it. She wrapped her fingers around it and brought it to her lips, still mid-sentence about something I'd apparently done last week too. The second that water hit her tongue, everything stopped. Her eyes went huge. Her mouth was still open from talking, and then she just sprayed it everywhere. All over her plate of food, all over the table. Some of it even got on her shirt. She made this horrible coughing, gagging sound and slammed the glass down so hard I thought it might break. "What the hell is in this?" she yelled, but like, not the angry yelling from before. This was different. Shocked yelling. She was wiping her mouth with her napkin over and over, staring at the glass like it had personally betrayed her. "Just water from the tap," I said, trying to keep my face completely blank. Same as always. She looked at me, really looked at me, and I could see in her eyes that she knew. She absolutely knew what I'd done, but she couldn't prove it. The glass was sitting there on the table, looking like normal water. She picked it up and sniffed it. Couldn't smell anything because salt doesn't really have a smell. She dipped her finger in and tasted it, then made another disgusted face. "Did you put salt in this water?" she asked. I shrugged. "I don't think so. Just filled it from the sink like you asked." She stared at me for what felt like forever. Her ruined dinner was sitting there in front of her, covered in salty water spit. Her shirt had wet spots on it. The table was a mess, and I was just standing there, hands back in my pockets, looking as innocent as possible. "Go to your room," she finally said. Her voice was different now, tired. "We'll talk about this later." But here's the thing. We didn't. She never brought it up again. Not that night, not the next day, not ever. I think she realized that if she started yelling at me again for the saltwater thing, she'd have to admit that she'd been lecturing an 11-year-old kid for almost an hour over coming inside late from playing basketball. And maybe that felt a bit much even to her. The next day she was back to normal, asked me how I slept, made breakfast, told me to have a good day at school. The whole long lecture thing, never mentioned. It was like it got erased from history. But I noticed something changed. After that, when she called me inside, her voice was normal. No more long lectures at the kitchen table. If I messed up, she'd tell me quick and that was it. Done. I never told anyone what I did until years later when I was like 17.